All right, hey gents, welcome to this month of November's question and answer video. All right, I got my new Tactical Rifleman t-shirt on. I've got my stack of questions from all of our patrons. Again, thank you for being a patron of Tactical Rifleman. We could not make these great videos without you. All right, so without further ado, first question is from Frankie Hitchcock. His question is, what's your opinion on making a short barrel rifle one's go-to rifle? What kind of effective range can you expect from a Mark 18 or a 12-inch Scar Heavy? The situation dictates. I mean, if you live out in the middle of Idaho or middle of Kansas where you've got flat rolling hills, you're going to want something that can reach out a little bit further. That said, if you live in a built-up area, then you're going to want a smaller, more compact, more transportable rifle. So the situation is going to dictate. But that said, if I had to travel around a lot, be in and around vehicles a lot, I would like a short barrel rifle. Now, your questions were Mark 18 and the Scar Heavy. Any 5.56, 308, 9mm, sub-gun, anything, small caliber, 300 blackout, 5.56, 9mm, 45, they're going to do fine. Short barrels. Longer barrel, obviously you're going to get more accuracy. Scar Heavy, that's a 308 gun, 7.62 by 51. Going with that big of a caliber does not give you anything unless you're going to use it at longer ranges. If you're going to only shoot it to 200, 300 meters, you might as well go with 300 blackout or 7.62 by 39. Okay, so back to the Scar Heavy. Scar Heavy is made for shooting at longer distances. It competes against the SR-25 and M14, M21, the old M24s, 308 guns. So going really short, a 12-inch barrel, 12.5-inch barrel, you're not getting the range. Those guns, you're looking 200-300 meters optimized. Can you go past that? Yeah, but understand you're dropping a lot of muzzle velocity. You're not going to get that range. The advantages of going with a short barrel rifle is you can add a suppressor to it and it's good in tight areas. So if you knew you were going to be doing a lot of 308 subsonic work, sentry takeouts, things like that, then sure, short barrel on there with the suppressor. Now you're back up to the normal length of the Scar Heavy. But if that's all you're doing, why not go with 300 blackout? And the reason why I say that is I have a short barrel 300 blackout with a 7.62 suppressor on it, and then I have a stack of 308 guns that I put the same suppressor on. When I'm shooting subsonic 308 ammo, I load them with the exact same projectiles, either 208 grain Hornadies or 220 grain Sierra Match Kings. I can get the exact same muzzle velocities because it's still a 30 caliber projectile being propelled at the exact same speed. So why go with the longer casing length if it's not needed? The cool part about 300 blackout is, especially because it's awesome for subsonic, is I can take that short upper and I can keep it inside the rucksack. I can keep it inside the bag in the back of the vehicle. And then if I have the need for 300 blackout suppressed shots, I just slapped a new upper on it. It's the optics already zeroed to it. The suppressor still fits, and I can use those same magazines. When I don't need it, I can take it off, put my 5.56 upper on it, and yeah, I'd run a 308 can on a 5.56. No big deal. Runs fine. A little bit louder, so but I still have the mass amount of rounds, 5.56, that I can find anywhere on the planet. So anyways, if I had to choose, I understand why you're asking about the SCAR heavy. Well, I'm just not a big SCAR guy, simply because everybody says that the Remington ACR was a copy of the FN SCAR. No, the FN SCAR and the Remington ACR are both copies of the XCR made by Robinson Arms. Go look up Robinson Arms XCR. That is a truly awesome gun. I wish they had put it into mass production, but they didn't get any contracts. Not a big enough company. All right, hope I answered your question well enough there, Frankie. Next question is from John Farrow Jr. Okay, I heard this scenario again a week ago. Is it true that during Ranger and or SF training, candidates are helicoptered out to a remote area just wearing a smile or boxers, dropped off and told to figure out how to survive for several days? Fact, fiction, or somewhere in between? Total bullshit. Now, there are a variety of different survival courses. The USASOC survival course there at Fort Bragg. You've got 10th Group used to run survival courses. The Navy's got a couple different survival courses for their pilots. Air Force has got different survival courses. You don't get dropped off until after you've already had the training. You get the classes first, and then you get sent out. You get sent out a uniform, a couple of other things, but not. This is not the military version of Naked and Afraid. No, not at all. My old recon platoon, every once in a while, whenever the platoon sergeant was having issues with his wife, he would come into work and he'd load us all up in the trucks, and we would go out and just walk through the woods. Rifle and our little load-bearing vest, that was it. Whatever you had in your little butt pack. We'd walk all day long, do patrolling and everything. Great training. You learn to travel light. About every 5-6 months, his wife would really get pissed at him, and we'd do the same thing. We'd be thinking we were going out for just a day walk through the woods, and we'd get out there and he'd say, all right, we're going to be out here for the next 3 days. We didn't bring 3 days worth of gear. All we had was what was on us to walk through the woods. So we had to learn to make do with what we had. What it taught me to do is always be prepared, always have the bare minimum essentials, and you learn how to use a lot of different survival skills. Everything's different in different environments. Making a fire, rubbing 2 sticks together doesn't help you at all when you're in a lifeboat in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. You know, there are different skills needed for each environment. So there's a little bit of truth to the crazy stories. The one about they walked up to the old crusty SF guy in a bar and they asked him, is it true you guys learn 99 ways to kill somebody with a paper clip? And the old steely-eyed SF guy looked over at him and just said, pick a number. Is there truth behind that? It makes for a funny story. You're keeping the legend alive. Honestly, though, I've only learned a couple dozen different ways to kill somebody with a paperclip, not 99. All right, so we're off to the next page here. All right, next one is from Robert S. Carl, what's your opinion on 4150 chrome moly Valium versus chrome hammer forged barrels for your shit hits the fan, go to war rifles? I don't build range guns, but when I've built something specifically as my go-to weapon, I've always used cold hammer forged barrels from the Mark 18 guys. That said, I have a 10.3-inch SBR that's a hell of a shooter. I've pounded the shit out of it and it still hammers on. It's truly ready mag worthy. But should I continue to stick to cold hammer forged barrels for those shit hit the fan zombie apocalypse rifles I build, or is barrel life between the two more negligible? I believe my M4 barrels were 4150 CMV, but I've been under the impression that cold hammer forged barrels had a longer barrel life. Thoughts? Thanks. you're not going to be able to tell the difference between the two. You can get a cold hammer forged barrel that is chrome lined, just like your chrome moly barrels. 4150 is very, very hard steel. That's the reason why the military uses it. The cold hammer forged, they're beating on it more, they're making it harder, all right? So it's supposed to hold accuracy a little bit better. Whether you're going moly lined or you're going chrome lined, it's going to take a long time for that coating to wear off the inside of the barrels, and after that, maybe your cold hammer forged barrel might resist erosion a little bit better. But honestly, if you're taking care of your gun, in other words, you're actually cleaning it, unlike what a lot of people do, honest brother, you're not going to tell the difference. You're really not. The reason why the military goes with the chrome lined barrels is because think about going through the ocean, being on the beaches, doing that, getting all those corrosive elements always inside the barrel there. Unless you're constantly running an oily patch through it to keep all those solvents out of the barrel, it's really, really rough on the metal outside and in. So anyways, go with what you know, brother. If you've got one thing that you're a big fan of, go with it. My thing is, if you find a barrel that is accurate and it's chrome lined, whether it's hammer forged or not, if it's accurate and it's built to be a long-term gun, run with it. You know, my thing is stay away from stainless steel. Stainless steel is, it sounds like it resists corrosion better. It's not going to resist better than chrome lined. And stainless steel it's a softer metal, so it's easier for the gunsmiths to work with to make you a more accurate gun for competition, but it's not going to last as long. So stay away from stainless steel. It's a soft metal. Your choice is 4150 or cold hammer forged. Those are both hard metals. You're not, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. If you told me one was one and it was really the other, honest brother, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. They're both awesome. All right, next question is from Trey Stokes. I don't know how to take this one. I've noticed you wear pants, period. I too wear pants. I also noticed that yours sometimes have the knee pads built into the fabric opposed to having to wear them separate. Those would be great for me at work, but I can't find any except for motorcycle racing. Can you suggest a company or store where I can find some that will stand up to punishment, be comfortable, and not look out of place in the real world? Ooh. Okay, you're kind of getting into Grand Thumb technology there. He's real big on reviewing tactical pants, but without getting into stealing Grand Thumb's thunder, which I couldn't do because I don't watch any of his videos. I couldn't tell you what he thinks about pants. We used to run the Cry Precision pants. They're the ones that you see me wearing every so often. They've got the knee pads built into them. All right. There are other companies, 511, that has, you can insert the knee pads into them. Mountain Khaki, I think, has some. There's a older brand that's not made anymore that you will see me wearing sometimes called, well, I don't even remember what they're called anymore. Anyways, they're not being made anymore. I got a bunch of old pants. Those you can put knee pads into. Actually, the Army issue ACUs have Velcro pockets. Velcro is actually on the bottom so that you can insert foam inserts. Now, take these with a grain of salt. They look cool, but at the same time, if you've ever had to patrol long distances wearing those Cry Precision assaulter pants with the big heavy knee pads in them, they actually wear the mid of your shin. The bottom of the knee pad does. The sheer weight of it pushes the bottom of the pad back and forth, and it wears. It actually wear a sore on the front of your shins. I don't like having knee pads in unless I'm going to be kneeling a lot. Sounds like your job, that's what you want. Xterra makes a good knee pad. You'll see Z wearing them in his videos. If you want, I can get you the, put it in the comments that you want me to get the name of them. But those he wears on the outside of his pants. I wear them on the outside of my pants when I'm doing barricade drills and stuff. I got the model from Z, right? I don't know everything. I learned from everybody else too. I think a couple of other guys chimed in saying that 511 had some good ones. Honestly, dude, I wear Cry Precision pants. Cry Precision does make their pants in tan, a couple other solid colors, so you wouldn't look like you're wearing multicam pants to work. But other than that, try welding pants. I have a set of they're German-made construction pants. I think they're for welders and stuff. They've actually got Kevlar panels on the front, and they have inserts to put knee pads, knee cushions in, and that's what I wear when I know I'm going to be doing a lot of work with students, like zeroing guns, stuff like that. The day where we zero rifles or we do a lot of prone stuff, those are the pants I wear simply because the Kevlar fabric doesn't wear out. It's not so much about the knee pads, it's because I want them to hold up very, very well. They're European made. I can't remember the brand name. I'll put it in the comments below. All right, next question is from Alexander Getty. Question for video. Have the Navy SEALs become too cool or Hollywood? And could you talk about the friendly rivalry between your Army unit and the SEALs? Thanks, Alex. Have the SEALs become too cool? They pretty well always have been. We had the old joke, how do you find the SEAL sniper team? It's the bush that's got the Discovery News crew standing over the top of it. If you knew you were going to combat, you'd bring Rangers with you or Marines. They like to fight. If you were going to play volleyball, you bring SEALs with you. But now, honestly, that's friendly rivalry. The reality is SEALs are naval special ops guys. That's all. Where the Marines are naval infantry, the SEALs are naval special ops. So in other words, they're designed to hit the beach. Hit targets in water or on the beach. They don't do very well when you go inland for a couple days at a time. I can get real deep into that, but I won't, because as much as there used to be rivalries, now honestly there's so much work going around. SEALs have actually gotten in trouble here a lot lately with their admirals, because so many of them were writing books and helping with video games and movies and stuff, that they actually got squashed for doing that. Where SF guys, Green Berets, we were the quiet professionals. None of us would do that. That said, this SEAL who was a SEAL for 4 years wrote his book and made $1.2 million. I served 25 and a half years in the military, and the only money I make is off of you guys and my retirement. So I may actually write a book someday. I really will. So anyways, SEALs are not too cool. They're just, SEALs are cool, man. SEAls are awesome. Jason's awesome. He really is. I love Jason. All right, next question is from Susan Britcher. Well, she's not a lass anymore. She's a Sheila. How do I know that? How do I know that? Because I got my care package from Down Under. Got a care package in the mail. And besides getting a whole book, I'm not joking here, Aussie slang, Down Under, I also got a couple great cup holders, and this one actually has key Australian terms on it, to be used for official purposes, court of law, stuff like that. And right here, a Aussie woman is to be referred to as a Sheila. So I'm sorry, Susan, if I was calling you a lass earlier. You're a Sheila. All right. Susan Britcher's question. Hey, Carl. This will seem random, but I'm wondering if you turn your hearing aids off at night when you sleep. If you do, how do you handle security if you can't hear someone break in or attack? Number one, I'm not deaf. I'm tone deaf. Okay, in other words, I miss, when people talk to me, I miss like one letter out of every other word. So if I don't have my hearing aids in, it just sounds like people are mumbling. That, my dogs are really loud. And three, my home alarm system, if you open a window, shatter glass, open a door, it's this earth-shattering alarm system. I've even got a separate siren downstairs in the man room, blinking lights and everything. Mental, completely mental. I'm going to hear my alarm go off. All right, she goes on. The reason I ask is that Glenn, that's her husband, by the way, Glenn snores like a freaking freight train. So if I want to get any sleep, I need to wear earplugs, but I get completely freaked out that I can't hear anything in the house while they're in. So I'm just not sure what a good workaround is. I'm literally relying on my little puppy dog to wake me up if something happens. I feel your pain. Most of my pajamas have earplugs in either pocket because my beautiful spouse on occasion has been known to snore, which is awesome. It's a cute little purr that kind of resembles a freight train. So I have from time to time slept with earplugs in. I sleep with earplugs in a lot when I'm deployed or even down at T1G. Coach Kevin Jimerson, you've seen some of his videos, that boy snores. Oh my God. He'll knock out a whole bottle of Crown Royal and then that boy will snore like it's the Battle of Midway going back and forth all night long. It's awesome, awesome. All right, so I feel your pain, Susan. Take your hand like this, make a fist, take that thumb right there, that part of your thumb, about fourth rib up on the back, right there. When Glenn snores, poke him right there and that will cause him to roll over. And trust me, he'll quit snoring. Like that, third or fourth rib up on the side at about 7 or 4 o'clock. There's a nice little pressure point there. Tip of the thumb, little jab. Not hard, you're not trying to hurt them. Guaranteed to roll the spouse over, guaranteed. She goes on. If you can't answer this because it's too much about your personal security, then I have a backup question. I answered that, Susan, I did. So what do you think, guys? She does. She has a backup question. Do we let her have it? That would be 2 questions in 1 month. That's not really fair. I don't let Jay do that. I don't let Jeff do that. I'm going to let Susan do that. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because you guys didn't send me care packages. I got a bottle of Vegemite. I got Tim Tams. I got all... Yeah, and it goes on and on and on. Now, kangaroo jerky, and you wonder why the spouse got a little jealous. And I told my beautiful bride, I'm like, honey, come on, it's not like she sent me a kangaroo ball sack or something. That would be inappropriate. We get to the bottom of the box, and there is a kangaroo scrotum. A kangaroo scrotum. Susan sent me the ball sack from a kangaroo. So sure, I'm going to give her her second question. Why not? All right, backup question is, obviously you need to be super fit to do all the stuff that you have talked about in your stories back in the day. Just wondering what sort of stuff you did while deployed in remote, sparse areas to keep fit and still train while deployed, or was it more working muscles and fitness? And you still look super fit now. Do you still work out the same? Everybody thinks I spend all my time in the hide site or up on the mountain in Afghanistan. That's not the case. Your Green Berets, even forward deployed, they would usually have my unit at the air base so that we were right near the helicopters, ready to get on the helicopters to take off. So the cool part about being stationed where the Air Force is you've got good Air Force food, you've got all the Air Force women, and you've got the Air Force. The Air Force is spoiled rotten. So they have gymnasiums, they've got nice hospitals, nice stores, KFC, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut. I'm not joking. Look up Balad, look up Bagram, look up Kabul, the air base there in Kabul, and look at what's on Kabul, and you'll see there's a Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, KFC. I'm not joking, but they've got great gymnasiums over there. So if you're in a walled compound, you didn't have to worry about snipers. You can get out and run 5 miles. You just we would run with our pistols. All right, but honestly, I'd usually run on a treadmill inside the gymnasium. They had all the weight machines and everything. I'm big on doing kettlebells. Some weightlifting. Now, fast forward, I can't do, like I am, I used to be 225 with like 2% body fat. Now I'm 200 pounds with 80% body fat. I've lost all my muscle, but I still try to stay in shape. But I can't lift heavy weights like I used to. I can't run like I used to because my bad knees, my bad tore-up joint. So I still do kettlebells. I still lift light weights, high reps. And honestly, I have a rowing machine in my gymnasium. I have a treadmill, but honestly, my son uses it more than I do. I try to stay in shape. I appreciate it, Susan, but yeah, I'm not near in shape like I used to. Leave that to all the young guys. All right, next question is from, and thank you very much for the care package, Susan. Yeah, and I wonder why my wife gets jealous. Love it. I love this stuff. It's good. Haven't gotten into the Vegemite yet. All right, next question is from Jeff. Going back to May's war story and need a loophole fast, could you explain or go into any detail on the loophole shooting formula? Also, your barrel appears to be inches from the loophole. Any reason for that instead of being further back in the room? Lots of questions here, but could you just break down what you can on loophole shooting? First off, the reason why my barrel was so close to that loophole, one, because as I stretched out behind the gun, I had a wall behind me that my feet were almost up against, so I couldn't get back through the room. Now, that said, got a bunch of other pictures. I'll probably put some of them in my book where we were fighting a Chechnyan sniper down in the Jaf, and his SVD rounds would go through one wall. So we were actually 2 walls back. We had a hole in this wall, hole in that wall, and we'd actually be 2 rooms back shooting through 2 loopholes. Now, that way you're far enough back. Now, Jeff mentioned the loophole formula. What the loophole formula is, for all of our viewers out there, it's part of a ballistic calculation that allows you to look through a hole that big and then pass your bullet through the exact same hole. So what you're doing is you're figuring out angles. Now, likewise, everybody grasps the concept of, on our sniper rifles, doing the math to figure out how much my bullet's gonna drop for me to shoot the 700-meter target versus the 914-meter target. Trajectory of the round, you can actually calculate. Now, you need to know barometric pressure, density of the air, temperature, elevation above sea level, all that stuff. It gives you density, altitude, basically the thickness of the air, resistance against the bullet. You need to know distance to target, angle shooting up or downhill. You take all this, and it's all math, and you can actually calculate where you need to aim up in the air for that bullet to come back down and hit that target at said distance. Now, you can do that now, and snipers all over the place can do that. Hunters, shooters can do that all over the place. There's lots of ballistic programs that are out there that you can do to calculate that. Now, it's not classified or illegal to teach, but most of the programmers, Horse Vision, Applied Ballistics, their civilian version of their software, they don't usually put the loophole formula in there, or if they do, it's very vague. You plug in a number and it gives you a different number, but they don't really explain what it is. And the reason why they do that is they don't want the bad guys knowing how to calculate the loophole formula. All the loophole formula is as my bullet leaves the gun, bang, it goes up in the air and it comes down to hit my target over here. Now, as it rises, it crosses my line of sight. For example, zeroing a rifle, your M16 for a 300 meter zero, it crosses line of sight at 25 meters, and then it comes back down and hits again at 300. 25 meters, that's why the Army zeroes their rifles at 25 meters instead of 26 or 24 or 20, as they want it to be dead on, balls accurate at 300 meters. So in other words, for them to shoot at a 300 meter target, if you have a hole in the wall that big at 25 meters, you have to be 25 meters back from that hole in the wall, but you literally can pass that 5.56 bullet through that hole. Literally, you don't need a hole this big. It'll pass right through, come back down. That's what the loophole formula does. The loophole formula, you're reversing that math out as you're calculating the arc of the bullet at different distances. You can calculate exactly how high your bullet is going to be above line of sight, all the way back down to where you shot from and where it crosses. Remember, your scope is sitting a couple of inches above your barrel, so right where they cross, that tells you, because that angle changes as you're shooting a 900 meter target versus a 1600 meter target versus a 500 meter target. That angle changes. You can calculate with the loophole formula exactly how far back away from that loophole in the wall. Now, we've done it on sheets of paper and actually passed the bullet through the same half-inch hole that we were looking through with the sniper rifles. If you calculate the math correct. Now, shooting through a wall, you've got to calculate the thickness of the wall. You need your hole a little bit bigger, but you can. It works awesome. Now, realistically, in a sniper environment, hunting in a urban hide site, unless I'm shooting at long distance, I don't use that loophole formula like that. If you guys look, my holes will usually be vertical, and the reason for that is so I can be closer to it, but also it'll be a little wider than I need it to be. Technically, you only need it to be as wide as your bullet. That hole can literally be 8 millimeters wide, and I can fit a 7.62 bullet through it. Why do I go with a 4-inch wide hole? The reason why I do that is closer up, it allows me to pan left and right, up and down, and I have a larger kill zone. Now, that said, I'm not saying I don't use the loophole formula, especially if you're in an area where there's a high threat of counter sniper. You, of course, want to use the loophole formula so the bad guys won't be able to figure out where you're at. They're looking for big holes, they're looking at windows, and you're actually shooting through a hole that big. That's the purpose of the loophole formula. I, on the other hand, what I use it for actually is in front of the gun instead of, well, wait a minute, call it in front of the gun where the wall is. Yes, But what I use it for is, let's say where it became important for me is hunting back in the Joff again. I was looking down this road and there's all these street wires, telephone wires, cable TV wires, electrical wires, clotheslines, everything going all across the road. How do I shoot through that mess? I'd be watching this one street corner and there's a wire hanging right above it there, maybe halfway down. How do you calculate whether your bullet's going to hit that wire or not? Do you say, do you just guess? Honestly, that's what most snipers do. Most snipers just guess. You don't have to. You can actually figure where the exact distance to that wire. How do you do that? What's your odds of lasing a wire at that distance with a laser rangefinder? Don't even try. Find where it hooks to the building and then laze that. All right, that wire is at exactly 331 meters. I'm shooting at a 500 meter target. I can do the math. Where's my bullet going to be at that distance? It'll be so high above where I'm aiming. Is that where that wire is sitting? If it is, that doesn't mean I can't shoot. It just means instead of shooting the guy here, I'm going to shoot either 2 inches lower or 2 inches higher. It's still on his chest, but I've done the math to make sure there's no chance I'm going to hit it all. You can get so good using the loophole formula against objects in front of you, you can shoot through a chain link fence and not worry about nicking the wire. All right, let that sink in. So anyways, Jeff, I hope I answered that question for you a little bit. But honestly, if you want to know why I like to get up close to my loophole, it's to give me wider fields of fire, because shooting mammals is really, really fun. Next question is from Michael Byer. Hello, Carl and Tactical Rifleman team, comma. I have 2 questions. My first question is, I've heard you briefly discuss the time you spent in Africa. Would you consider making a story time about some of your experiences there? I'm learning about the relationship between Islamic terrorist groups in Africa and the connection to the Middle East in college, and was wondering if your take on the whole situation. Story time, Africa. I could do that. We could do my trip in Djibouti. Why did Al-Qaeda go to Africa? Why don't all the people reject terrorism, right? If you come into a town, think about a bunch of terrorists coming into your town. Wouldn't you object to them being there, right? It makes sense that you would, so why don't they? You can go all over Africa, just real quick, guys, just real quick. You can go all over Africa. You have the Baptist Coalition from the U.S. will come in, they'll build churches. All right. Likewise, you've got Muslim, the Islamic Brotherhood, all kinds of other groups come in and they'll build churches, mosques, but it's still a church. It's the same thing, right? Now, nobody cares about them building a church. Whoop-de-doo, no big deal. I live in Africa. What they care about is mom, who's got 9 kids and she lives in a mud hut in Africa. All she cares about is her kids getting education and her kids being healthy. So the same group that built the mosque, they come in and they build a hospital, a little aid station, and now she can get medical care for her kids. Then they then build a school, just like the Baptists built a school next to their church. The Muslims build a madrasa, a school right next to their mosque, and they say, all right, hey, free education for your students, but if they come to our school, they've got to learn so many hours from the Quran a day. Mama doesn't care what your religion is. She doesn't care. She cares about what's best for her kids. And if that's all they got to do is learn a little bit about your religion, so be it. She is going to get her kids education and health care. She's doing what's best for her kids. Now, fast forward, the kids are getting indoctrinated in the madrasas, but she's still getting health care. She's still getting education for her kids. Now, when the Americans come in and are asking, hey, are there any terrorists in your neighborhood? Why would she give up these terrorists? Why would she say where they're at? These are, because if they leave, she no longer has a school, she no longer has a hospital for her kids. Whether they're learning a radical religion or not, they're losing that. So that's why the people in Africa don't give up to terrorists. We expect them to just, oh, hey, the terrorists are over here. No, you've got to offer them something better. They don't care about our politics. They care about a better life. Is honestly, we're spoiled here in the States, all our Western countries, where even the homeless people have got smartphones. I passed somebody in Las Vegas, bunch of homeless people on the streets. They're all checking their Facebooks and stuff. Had their cardboard, I piss on them. I'd rather give money to the people in Africa. My second question is, have you ever considered making a collaboration video with other YouTuber other than your channel? My personal favorites are Vigilance, Elite, and Garantham. Thanks. I have no problem working with anybody if people say they want to come do videos with. Craig Sawyer, Sawman, he was supposed to come in and do some videos with us. A bunch of other guys. We get offers from time to time, but I'm not going out of my way. I'm not going to pay for them to come in and do it for sure. You know, if they reached out to me, and like I saw Garantham at SHOT Show, I saw him again at the NRA show, you know, walked by and said, yeah, hey man, I like your videos. He looked up at me like this. He's a little shorter than I am. Seemed like a nice guy. He didn't know who the hell I was. It just, I was one more guy telling the guy in the flannel shirt, hey, I like your videos. I'm sure he gets that all day long. You know, but if they wanted to do videos with Tactical Rifleman, sure, no problem with it at all. Yeah, if you know any of them, ask them if they want to do videos with us. But I'm not paying for them to come in. Gents, that's it. That's the last of our questions for this month. I just got back from deer hunting today. So anyways, there's not as many reindeer as there used to be. Not at all. Things I want you all to keep an eye out for is we're getting ready to put out a holiday gift guide, so that the whole 12 days of Christmas, gifts to buy your loved ones, to buy your spouse. You know, you get Glenn those the new EOTech to put on his AR there, Susan. So anyways, check out our gift guide, and also, well, by the time you guys see this, the wall video will be out. I like that one. And here in a couple days, we are going to do our live stream video, and hopefully y'all can make it. We will share some kangaroo jerky, and we will talk about putting together our Patreon training course next October. Susan, thanks again for the care package. Gents, I hope you enjoyed this month's question and answer video, and as always, thank you so much for your continued support, gents. We couldn't do this here at Tactical Rifleman without you guys being our patrons. Y'all take care. Shoot straight.